This is the excellent Mobius Camera. Now, the one thing that's held it back so far from being considered a proper action camera is the fact it's not waterproof. Well, no longer a problem. There's now a waterproof case for it. It's not made by the manufacturer, it's made by a company called JooVuu. Now, JooVuu are a reseller of products normally in the UK, but they've decided to go on their own this time and make a case for the Mobius because they realised it needed one. Now, the specs on the back say you can take it to 30 metres underwater, and it shows you how to assemble it in different ways for the two different kinds of Mobius camera. I'll show you that in a second. So here's the case, and here is the Mobius camera. I'm using a Type B Mobius camera. You can tell it's a Type B, the wide-angle one, because the lens sticks out of the front. The other one, the lens is flush to the front, and my old Mobius is now doing duty in the car as a car DVR that I've hidden up behind the rear-view mirror. It's doing a good job as well. Anyway, back to the case. The first thing I've got to do is assemble it so that it fits my Mobius. With it having a sticky out lens on the front, I'll need to use some different parts than people would if they were just putting the standard Mobius in. They're all included inside this bag, so it will work with both models, A and B. I'll show you how it all goes together. First off, you get the camera here and put it inside the front of the case like this. As you can see, it goes in there and then the back goes on. Now, this metal part, this back, only goes a certain way up. I'll explain what that's about in a bit. But the two bracket things go on the side here and hold it tight around that rubber seal there. Now, the next thing we have to do is make the bit that covers the lens at the front to make sure that's waterproof. So, we've got two of these black plastic rings. I have to use two with having the larger lens, but if you just had the smaller lens, you just use one. Now, the clear acrylic part that goes over the lens, you might notice it's a bit misty. Now, don't just put it on like that. It does actually have a piece of protective film over it that you'll need to remove. If you don't do that, all your recordings will look pretty poor. So make sure you take that off. Okay, so we've got that ready now. The next thing we do is put it inside the front bit. You'll notice the piece of acrylic has sort of edges on it. It's not perfectly round, so it will fit in there and then hold itself in place. It won't rotate once it's in there. Presumably, that'll stop it getting water in as well. Now, the next thing we have to do is make this waterproof. So we've got some rubber rings here, and what you have to do is put them inside the cap around the edge like this. We'll only have to do this the first time we put it together. After that, we'll just be able to get the camera in from the back. It won't be this reassembly job every time. So tighten those two parts together like that. And then, of course, we put the next rubber ring in there. Again, put it round the edges of the cap in there. And that's ready to tighten on now onto the front of the case. Everything fits together well. One thing I was thinking, you might want to put some sort of silicone grease on that if you were really going deep underwater, just to give it a bit of extra protection. I'm not going that far. In fact, one thing that people always expect me to do when I'm testing out waterproof things is to go and do some surfing or underwater diving or exciting things like that. Well, I'm afraid I don't live in that kind of part of the country, and to be honest, I'm not that interested in water. But to demonstrate that this is waterproof, I'm going to take it to my local area and put it in the canal. Let's just have a look at this. Camera's eye view. You can see why people don't do much diving in the canal, can't you? Not much to see here. Notice a bit of vignetting at the bottom right hand corner there. That is because I've got that wide angle lens, unfortunately. I don't think you get that with the standard lens. But not much to see down here at all. Yeah, like I say, nothing to see. Now, I've had to re-edit this video because I made a bit of a cock-up the first time. Mine didn't include any instructions. I didn't realise that you were supposed to put something inside the case to transfer the heat from those heat sinks to the metal bit on the back. So this is the new section that explains that part. Inside the case are these two things. They're heat sink transfer self-adhesive tape stuff. And what you have to do is snip a little bit of that off and put it inside the top of the case. Apparently some people come with the cases that have got some of this in, but there's also additional stuff inside the box which suggests to me that it wears out after a time, so you'll need to know how to do this anyway. So snip a little bit off, take the self-adhesive tape protection stuff off, stick it inside the top of the metal there, and then you can put your Mobius camera inside the case, and it's a tighter fit now. In fact, it's pretty tight. It's a bit annoying getting it in there, to be honest, but it does restrict the ease of getting it in, but it also means that it'll transfer the heat to the outside of the case. So anyway, that was the bit that I had to add on to the video because I'd missed it out the first time round, and it was quite important to explain that because that might put you off getting the case. I don't know if it does, but there you go. There's a screw hole on the back there where you can attach a flotation device if you want to keep it afloat because it would sink on its own. The case itself weighs 43 grams or 1.5 ounces. You can access all the buttons easily through the case. As you can see here, pressing it, you can see the light on there as well, which is important, so you can see what mode the camera's in and whether it's recording or on or off, so there's no need to mess around with silly little windows. It's quite easy to press those buttons and easy to see what's going on. Of course, we've got that tripod screw on the bottom, so everything's where you need it. I mean, this is the kind of thing you could put on the side of your motorcycle helmet perhaps, or on the top I suppose, or anywhere where it's likely to rain. You don't have to go underwater with this. It's just protection for the Mobius camera that it doesn't already have. The buttons on the case feel exactly like you're pressing the ones on the camera. You don't feel like you're sort of pushing through a case or anything. Although it does look pretty ugly, I'll say that. It's not going to win any beauty awards, but it does what you need it to do. And after all, that's what it's all about, isn't it? It only costs £20 as well, and there's links to buy one in the video description. But that's it for the moment. As always, thanks for watching.